League of Legends. As one of the most popular video games rising in the last decade, many of us have created a love and hate relationship with it. When we return home from school or work, we hop on a game of League of Legends. Click find a match, win some, lose some. You start boasting to your friends in games where you do well, sharing your stats and highlights. In games where you lose, you bitterly play as if pressure from your toxic teammates starts collapsing on you. This process repeats, and the improvement you see within yourself is tediously slow. You start blaming the game for its terrible coin-flipping matchmaking and your teammate who seems to always bring you down. You could argue that you are playing for fun and the improvement factor is irrelevant, but I'm sure everyone agrees that winning is more fun than losing. But how often do we look at what we are doing ourselves to improve as a player and realize that the mental attitude we are taking is simply incorrect? We see people who have been playing the game since release and still be silver for whatever reason, while there are also extraordinarily gifted people hitting top 10 in the Korean server after 2 years. But we shouldn't compare ourselves to either group, since the majority of the population, like me and you, are normal. Before I begin though, I'd like to say that I'm not a coach or challenger player whatsoever. I'm just a young OTP that wants to be a YouTuber. I'm currently a master peak, so I'm also here to discuss how I see improving and how I approach it, and I'm more than happy to hear your thoughts and advice for me going forward. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. I'll be breaking the video down into 3 sections: the mental attitude that we should adopt things with, how we can improve, and an example of a game where I could have done a lot better and how I reviewed such a game. Number 1. You can never change your surroundings, only yourself. When a game is lost, there always seems to be an excuse that could perfectly explain what went wrong, and 99% of the time, we don't look for that excuse or reason from ourselves. Instead, it's always our surroundings. My jungler isn't ganking my lane when the enemy laner keeps shoving the wave in, or something like Smolder's just a stupid champ. Now, I'm not saying that the above isn't true, but I'm arguing that there is no point in making these complaints. Instead, look how you contributed to that issue even if you didn't create it. For example, you get solo kill twice and the enemy laner is heavily suppressed under your turret. Your jungler turns a blind eye to this, chooses to prioritize his camps and proceeds to walk right past you. Depending on the situation, your jungler probably could have done something for you, but you should first think how you got into the situation being suppressed under turret. It is easy to pin things on everything else and prevent damage to our egos, but when we sit down and look at things from a non-biased point of view, it is often more apparent that we are not as perfect as we might have imagined ourselves to be. I mean, think about it. Assuming half of the players in silver blame something else for their defeat and believe themselves to be deserving of higher ranks, why is silver still the highest populated rank if everyone is indeed so deserving? Once I went back to a lower elo alt account where I was doing a series on Yonbot Diamond, my support died once level 2. However, we quickly turned things around and ended up going 10-1 really soon. The enemy support was a Janna and started typing in alt chat saying, "You guys are so lucky, my ADC just threw the game into the melee ADC and wasn't satisfied with the winning lane." I chose not to say anything at the time, but I really wanted to ask her why she wasn't blaming it on the fact that she was taking the worst trades possible and constantly overextended. Yes, Varus did greed level 3 where he died, but could you blame everything that happened afterwards on Varus as well? We need to be open-minded with how we approach improving, and the mindset that I tend to take is when you are playing, be confident like Faker and imagine yourself to be the best. But when you are learning, think of yourself as someone that just started playing the game, where everything is new to you. Number 2. Master the basics, learn the theories, and go beyond. I'm sure you heard of the quote that went something like, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." The basics are the essential things like CSing, combos, champion understanding, and movement. You could be a macro genius and still suck if you are not mechanically strong. But focusing on these essentials will help you improve over time along with your macro and intuition from learning new theories and playing the game. Next up is learning the theories. I find that it is extremely difficult to improve without first understanding the concepts and fundamentals because you simply don't know what is right or wrong. This could create negative habits that could become difficult to fix in the future. Learning fundamentals is not super difficult, but more rather if you can sit through the lectures and apply them one at a time into your games. There are countless resources that you can use like Coach Curtis, Alois NL, and etc. I'm a top/mid player, so these are people that I know, and I'm sure you can find some relevant content creators to suit your needs. After that, it is just about making these things a 10 out of 10, playing the game and becoming creative in your plays, which is something you will develop as you play. Now let's go into a short VOD review for a game I played recently. Here is the damage plus stats of the game. Purely looking at this game stats, you can see that LeBlanc and I tried to do what we could to carry the game, as jungle and bot completely threw and blew up. Kindred is just out of control. Probably what I could tell myself and never look at it again. However, that just wasn't the case, and let me explain to you why. Before the game even started, I already messed up because I decided to trade with Urgot when I knew that I would never win him level 1. You might think that this did not change things in the long run, but let's not say anything about that yet. Keep going. Not instantly placing a ward results in him cutting me off from XP and also gaining significant health advantages over me. The lane is already becoming unplayable for me. Eventually, wave crashes and he gets a free reset off of that. My tempo and CS has been pretty much ruined for the rest of the lane. Now because of the bad tempo, he has some extra pots on me, and because of my slow reaction, I E the wrong way and I died, even though it was quite a close one. But it would have been a kill if I simply dodged correctly, or if I had enough money to buy the pot. But imagine that I had prevented the early mistake. I would have pots to make up for my mistake because I would be buying pots out of fountain. Okay, since I died, the wave has been pretty much in Urgot's control, and because of that, he has the opportunity to roam mid after a huge wave, crash top while barely losing anything. Eventually, I do catch Urgot making a mistake of getting hit by turret, and we utilize that to get a kill. But right after I got that kill, I take a bad trade of getting hit by every passive and set myself up to be dived, contributing to how fed Kindred is.
When you see us, an enemy has been slain. You have been slain.
Because I got dove, I can no longer outtrade Urgot and is pinned under turret until he eventually just takes it and even gets away from that. We see Diana going bot here instead of trying to help us, and I could blame her for not coming, but just know that the reason why we are in this situation in the first place is because of our own poor decision making from earlier. Now in team fights, even though the rest of their team is fed not only because of me, Urgot was able to provide more value, making them dominate us more. Even though Urgot is top here and I get 2 kills, his earlier contributions makes up for it. Now you can see that I'm positive again, but I'm positive from basically collecting 2 kills. Does that even justify me as the person that was playing well on my team? We managed to kill Kindred top and Urgot here with Pyke's help, but it's not nearly enough to turn the game around. Lastly, here's probably the most vital part of the game. A team fight is breaking down on Baron and I have TP to join in. However, I hesitated. Because I thought I was going to die if I TP'd in there and just going to int. But looking back at it now, that position is covered by Diana and I have flash, R, and E to space them out. Hesitation is defeat, says Isshin Ashina, and honestly he couldn't be more right. Instead, I walk to lane and everyone is dead by the time I get there. I flash Q because I don't know what else I could be doing, and boom, I die. My team is mad at me for not TPing, and Corki for getting caught. We lose Baron, and with their overwhelming advantage, they just shred us down and end the game. I was 7-5 at the end of the game. My jungle and bop absolutely inted, but does that mean I blame everything on my team? No, I showed you how poorly I played things where chain reactions occurred, leading to mistakes and opportunities for the enemy one after another. If I had one lane, does it mean we for sure win the game? No, but I know I could have contributed a lot more to my team than collecting kills. Let's go back to that Baron fight where I decided to flash Q in. Looking back at it now, I realized that I could have had a better option, but it didn't come into mind for me at the moment because I just simply didn't have enough mastery on Yeon combos. I couldn't think of the best angle or a way to go in there because I just simply didn't understand it well enough. It might not have changed much, but it shows my lack of champion mastery. Here's what I could have done. Let me show you in practice tool. It may not have changed much, but this game, for future games, it would be more useful, especially if I had TP'd. Anyways, the point of that VOD review is we often ignore our own mistakes and only look at the final result of games when we play. This makes us think we play more perfectly than we actually do. We have to look at each and every mistake because these mistakes reveal our misunderstandings, lack of knowledge, and other issues that are hindering our growth as a player. If I told myself my team was just inting, I could never see things at this angle, and while this may not make me a challenger in one night, it will make me closer than not doing so. For lower tier, this is especially useful. It may be painful to do and not so fun, but we all have to put in the efforts to see results, right? Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'm more than happy to discuss the contents of this video in the comment section. If you found this helpful in any way, make sure to like and subscribe. Help me reach my goal of 1,000 subs. See you next time. Bye bye.